So next week we'll do two more. Should be good to go then.
Your
I
green
work out
card.
like crazy, if you know.
Yeah,
I
you
work
lost a
out
lot of weight.
No, I work out like I have a personal trainer.
Oh,
That's
okay,
why. Yeah,
okay.
I'm like this now.
So your green card, getting your green card based upon
Your
your
ma-
marriage to a U.S. citizen,
Yeah.
or I should say, can you get your green card based
If you
upon your
marry an
marriage?
American citizen, what is the procedure for it? And
Okay, so
then
that's,
we'll
yeah,
expand
right,
on the
right,
show. We'll get it many different ways. So
right. Trying not to like be.
people are going to love the show. I can promise you.
Would someone like me and you to get
No,
there?
of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Hello viewers, this is Attorney Naresh Gehi, and with me is Marissa as always. She's here to ask us a lot of questions, and thank you to Buddy Singh for giving us this opportunity.
Let's do that, Mike. Hold on a second. Where's your tag? Where's your mic? It's all the way. It's too low. Yeah. It's too low. There we go. It's hard to hear you. Okay. All right. We're gonna do it back from start.
So if the green card holder is married to a U.S.
I'll
citizen,
help you, don't worry.
no, I'm just trying to get the green card holder is married to a U.S. citizen.
No,
What's the
not green card
process?
holder, undocumented. immigrant.
Undocumented is married to a U.S. citizen. Was a procedure in
Procedure
order
getting your
to
green
get
card,
your green card. Okay, got it.
Hello viewers, this is Attorney Naresh Gehi, and today we are with Marissa, and thank you to Jamuna Kishanti for giving me the opportunity to educate our community about helping people to become legal in America and qualify for the green cards. So today Marissa has a lot of questions for me about people who are undocumented. They've been here for years. They're struggling and they want to get the green cards. So we're going to talk about different ways of how people can qualify. And the question that Marissa has today
It's
is
a great
can a
question.
person
Right. So
can a person who is undocumented in America
right.
get their green card by marrying an American citizen?
Perfect. You
So
said
Marissa,
perfect.
why don't you spell it out correctly about what the
Right.
show is about, and then we are going to educate our viewers of how they can get their green cards if they are undocumented in America today.
So guys, I'm sure you know of Mr. Naresh Gehi. He's one of the top, or one of the best, I should say, immigration attorney that I personally know, and many people know. You have worked with Shah
I
Rukh
have
Khan,
actually
like a
worked
lot
with Shah
of
Rukh Khan.
right, many
I
celebrities.
worked
So.
recently with Kanika Kapoor. I just got her here recently, as you all know. Shah Rukh Khan has been my client. Yes, I can proudly say that.
So
And
that
then I worked
alone
with
is
a lot
amazing.
of celebrities,
Right,
and also we have clients from the New York Police Department.
right.
NYPD, some of the officers are clients. Then we have even immigration officers, their families have been my clients in the past.
And the fact that you have 3 offices, and the consultation is free,
That helps the
weekends
community a lot,
appointments,
yeah.
it's great. Take advantage of someone with his knowledge and the power, and he's really great at what he's doing. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, you'll see all the information for Mr. Gehi. So speaking of that, if I had the opportunity to get a free consultation, 3 different offices, and on weekends, if I'm working during the week, I could come have an appointment
Right.
with you, I would absolutely do it.
Thank you.
You know?
So what we'll do now is that I think we'll make sure that we help our viewers in
Absolutely.
understanding of how they can get the green cards if
Absolutely.
they are undocumented in the country.
Right.
Now, there are different ways to which people qualify for a green card. Now, I know of somebody, this is a very interesting story, Marissa. This particular, it can apply to a woman too. This man was married to a woman who was a citizen. And then after that, what happened was that the woman divorced him, but she had applied for his papers. He got the work permit, he got the social, he, the lady divorced him. Now then after that he found another woman. He married her, bad luck again.
Right.
He got the work permit, he got the driver's license. She didn't show up for the interview, got divorced again. Third time the person comes to me with another lady. Now, what happens in such cases? Immigration keeps a record of how many times you applied.
Right.
So, if you are in a situation wherein you applied for your immigration in the past, and if you have been unsuccessful, make sure that you go with a very good lawyer. There's a big reason behind it. The first thing the officer is going to do, he's going to pull your old file.
Right. Right.
People think that now I'm marrying someone. The first thing is he wants to see why you did not show up on your first interview. Why did you not show up on your second interview? And what are you doing in this country? Ultimately, when you are going to go again, then he is going to decide whether you should qualify for a green card or no. So, anytime if you've had an immigration case in the past and if it was unsuccessful, go to a different lawyer. Let him review it for you and make sure that you immediately file your papers and try to fix them as soon as possible. That's very important.
That is great. And you know what's something that's very common that I've been seeing? I did immigration for a little while, just studying, and I love to read and keep up with the news. If someone comes over from the Caribbean, South America, from any country in the world for that matter, on a visitor visa, and they overstayed their
Visa.
time. So now their visa expired and they're still here. So now they're an undocumented individual.
Right.
Can they get their green card while in the United States rather than being deported back,
Right.
home?
So now let's take an example. There's someone that flew from Trinidad or from Guyana or from Suriname or from India or from Nigeria or from some other country. Now they've been undocumented for a long time, you're saying.
Right.
They came here.
Right.
And now after that they tried their luck to become legal. For example, they tried to change the status to a student visa, or if they tried to go for an H1, and even if that was denied, if that person gets married to an American citizen, and if he did not commit any fraud, and if he does not have a serious criminal record, since the person came with a visa, he came on a visitor visa to be more specific with, he can still qualify for a green card in America. So that is great news.
Okay. That is actually great. And speaking of that, coming
And
over.
I did not finish, there's some more good news here.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Once, if they marry an American citizen, after 4 or 5 months, you can get a work permit. And that's an invaluable asset.
That in that short timeline?
You can just get your work permit. And then once you get your work permit, you get a social security card.
Right. Right.
Then you get your driver's license. And life is literally set.
Right.
Should
The
I
cops can't harass you.
Should I also share some more good news for you?
Absolutely, please do. The audience would love
Nowadays,
to hear it.
nowadays, you can also request permission to travel back home and come back until the
And-
green card is pending.
That's
So
unheard
you
of.
can
So that's
also
amazing.
go and come back and wait for the green card interview to come up. So that is the benefit of marrying an American citizen. And initially, what happens when you marry a citizen, you get a 2-year green card, because that's the law to make sure
Right.
that if your marriage is less than 2 years, then you get a 2-year green card, which is a
Right.
conditional green card. And after that, you have to remove conditions, and then
Right.
you qualify for a 10-year permanent green card in the United States.
Right.
So that's the beauty of marrying an American citizen.
Right. Right. Well, so do you have any more good news before I move on to my next question?
Yeah,
Because
let's
they were
take the
all
next question and then we
great
will
news.
go to
Okay.
the next one.
So I'm going to use myself as an example. So
Right.
I'm an American citizen. I go back home to my country, and I fall in love with someone, and I want to get married to that person.
Right.
So now, well, I did get married to that person. They're my spouse. What is the process and the timeline in order to for that person to get their green card? It is possible for them to get their green
So
card,
now
right?
let's talk about your situation. You're an American citizen here. You
Right.
went back to Trinidad or Guyana or to India or to
Right.
any other country.
Right.
You went there, you got married, you're coming back.
Right.
The first thing you need to do is definitely go with a good law firm.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you
Absolutely.
why. Because the consulates in those countries are very, very conservative.
Right.
If they feel that there's even something wrong with your paperwork, your spouse is going to be stuck there forever.
Right.
Now, sometimes people have this habit of doing the paperwork on their own. Guess what happens? They come back to me, they spend more money.
Absolutely.
Why? I'll tell you why. Either sometimes I've seen cases wherein the foreign spouse had committed a fraud in the past. That happens a lot. They try to go to the consulate by using a different name, or they were stopped at the border, they were sent back. So be safe rather than being sorry.
Right.
Once you got married, or if you're planning on even going to go and get married, retain a law firm in the beginning so they can give you the right paperwork. So what a lot of our clients do like you, if you're planning on going back and getting married, they'll come in and see us. They'll say, okay, start the paperwork. So we can give you the exact paperwork so that you can go back, get married and come back. So we can try to finish up the paperwork soon. And we've been able to get people from Guyana, Trinidad, India, Burma, Nigeria, UK, any country you talk about, in approximately around 12 months.
Well, now going on to that. So, same situation. I'm going back to my country. I'm getting married to my spouse. However, there's a catch here. My
Yes.
spouse has kids.
Okay.
Can I sponsor those kids as well to come over? And also, what would be the timeline?
Yes. Now take an example. You married James Bond or someone over there.
That'd be great.
You're James Bond. And Mr. Bond over there has 2 children.
Right.
And if these kids, when you marry them, if they're under the age of 18, then the good news is that you can sponsor the children. So you're the step parent through which
Right.
the children can also come to America.
Okay.
So you have to make sure that the children are under 18. If they're married, then you can sponsor Mr. Bond as well as the 2 children to come to America. So they all can come together in a period of 1 year in this country. We've done a lot of these cases
Right.
for our people, from the Caribbean, I believe. Yeah. So that's a very, very good thing. I believe.
That's great. And of course, these are all hypotheticals. I'm not married to James Bond. It would be fantastic if I was. Now, this is a question that happens in the community that we live in, unfortunately. And I'm going to use myself again. Hypothetically, I'm married to a U.S. citizen, and I'm being abused by this individual, and so I want to get out of this marriage.
And you also want to have a green card.
And I also want to have my green card so I can be here legally, but I don't want to go take the test.
No, let's
or he
take,
doesn't
yeah,
want me to
of
go
course
take
you,
the
you
test.
do you because if
Right.
you go there, they won't give you the green card.
Right.
Yeah. Now this is a very good example. Let's break the question up a little bit. Now, Marissa here, example, got married to somebody in America, and she's an undocumented immigrant. She
Right.
came from the Caribbean, and she flew from Guyana, and she came here. After coming here, she met somebody here, and this particular man married her with a lot of hope and love and everything.
Right.
Now suddenly he changed his mind.
Right.
Now he's married to Marissa. He put the papers in, and now he's troubling Marissa, saying that I don't want to get you a green card. I don't want you to get a
A lot
green
of
card.
harassment, a lot of
Exactly.
beating,
And
domestic
abuse and
violence.
everything.
Right.
So what should Marissa do, who came from Guyana and she's undocumented? First thing is come and see me. Go and see a lawyer right away. If your spouse is abusing you, and if your spouse is an American citizen, the good news for Marissa is that she does not have to continue to witness the abuse.
Right.
You can self-sponsor yourself for a green card under the Violence Against Women's Act, which also applies to men.
That's amazing.
So which means that now Marissa can do the entire paperwork on her own. If she is a victim of serious abuse from her spouse, she doesn't need any help from him, and she can still get a green card.
Guys, this is why you need to go see Mr. Gay. He has a
So
wealth of
you
knowledge.
do not have to continue to be abused by your spouse.
And have
The
that
law
fear and
does not
anxiety.
require you to be tortured every day. So don't be scared, even if your citizen husband is telling you that I'm going to get you deported, I'm going to beat you up. Call the police. You are living in America. And if you have any such problem, come in and see me. Because I find a lot of people coming to me crying. I tell them, listen, don't worry about it. We'll make sure that we fight for you. We fight for you. And there have been many cases we've won. Prior results do not guarantee future outcome. Yes, you can do it.
And no one should be subject to abuse, no matter
course,
what, and
it's not a good
blackmail
thing.
and all that stuff.
Now, another question which I get from viewers is that, Mr. Gehi, do I need any signatures from my abuser spouse?
Right.
The answer is no.
Right.
We don't need his signatures.
You do not.
Absolutely no.
So then they can't
We
hold
can
anything
work the
over
case,
you.
exactly. We can work the case without his help if you have been a victim of abuse. So keep that in mind, that even if you marry a citizen and if things are not working out, speak to a good lawyer immediately. And the good news is that we have clients from all over the United States who retain our law firm. Some people watch Buddy's show in Florida, some of them watch in Schenectady. Doesn't matter where you are, we can represent you. So a lot of our Caribbean friends are from New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Florida, Schenectady. We go everywhere for you folks. So don't worry. Anytime you have an immigration problem, email us at info@gehilaw.com if you're in another state, or come to New York. We'll be happy to help you. Call our office. We'll call you back if you're in another state. And if you're serious about retaining us, of course we are there for you. So if there's anything about immigration that's bothering you, contact us. We'll be happy to help you.
Right. And again, remember, this is someone that's very prestigious. He's worked with celebrities of all kind. He has 3 different offices, free consultation, open on weekends. So there's no excuse for you to say, "Oh, I was working." There's absolutely no
Right.
excuse. Now, my final question I have for you.
Right.
So, if, for example, someone has been ordered deportation, but they're married to a U.S. citizen, can they get their green card?
He may be eligible to get a green card. Now let's take an example. Is that there's someone who came to this country. They crossed the border and they came here. I'm taking the worst example.
Okay, so
They
okay.
crossed the border and they came
Backtrack.
here. Yeah.
Okay.
They are married to an American citizen now.
Okay.
They applied for political asylum.
Right.
The person was ordered deported. The good news is that if they don't have a serious criminal record, they are still eligible for the unlawful presence waiver and the waiver of deportability. How does that work? You cross the border, you came here.
Right.
Then what you do is you do the processing with the consulate in the home country.
Right.
Once if the consular processing is over, you apply for the waiver of deportability and you apply for the unlawful presence waiver. And once if those waivers are approved, then the person has to leave the country for a few weeks. They cannot hold him back.
They cannot.
No, because once if the waivers are approved and if you're truthful and if you're not doing anything wrong, the consulate has to send you back. Otherwise, you can take the case to federal court also. So we've had people who had deportation orders. We had people who crossed the border who came in here and they were married to citizens. Some of them were even married to green card holders. Even after that, they were able to qualify for a green card. Prior results do not guarantee future outcome. But if you are in a situation wherein you crossed the border and you came in, and even if you have an order of deportation, you're married to an American citizen, you still have hope
Right.
at the end of the tunnel. There is light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely.
So just
Absolutely.
remove the time to meet a good attorney and let them talk to you about it, and that's how you can come out of it. Now, and
Not meet a good attorney, Mr. Gay. Meet with you.
I tell
okay?
people that you have the choice
They do
to
have the
choose
choice.
a lawyer that you think is right for you.
Absolutely.
You don't have to come to me. I'm the last person who'll ever tell you to come in and see me, but you have to be comfortable with
I'm
your
gonna
lawyer.
tell you, come and see him. I've known him
So
for a long time.
that's how you
He's
need
a good
to-
attorney.
That's how you have to basically plan your life. Your lawyer has to be friendly. I mean, of course, you have to be friendly too. One thing I tell people with lawyers, When you're dealing with them, I tell people, keep the relationship nice and professional. Never use slang words, never use bad words. That's not good
Right.
karma.
Right.
And it's not good for anyone.
Right.
So be a good human being. That's what life is all about. So you should be comfortable with your lawyer. And remember one thing, no lawyer can guarantee you results. Let's
Right.
make that clear.
Right.
Some people think that doctors and lawyers, they took my money and he didn't do
Investments and all
anything.
that. Right.
That's
Absolutely.
life, folks. Be a
Right.
good sport.
There's always a risk in everything
In anything.
you do.
A while ago, I invested my money in the stock market and my broker told me to invest. I lost my money. Am I going to say that he's not a good broker? The answer is no.
Of course.
The answer is no. Because I took the risk. Life is all about taking risks and chances. So when you're even working with a construction worker, sometimes you start cribbing. Oh, the contractor messed me up and everything. Look at whether you paid him properly. Look at the fact whether the job was done properly. You have to be fair and objective in life.
Absolutely. You have to be logical.
You have to
It's
look at
important.
it logically. And once I know that someone went to a doctor, real story, and the doctor did his best. The person was old. The person died. Now the person tells the doctor, give me the money back.
See, that is not being objective. That is not being logical because, if, for
A
example, I have
doctor can only do this much and a lawyer can only do this much for you. The rest is it's in God's hands. One thing people have to understand that decisions are made by the government. Whether you qualify for a green card or no. The lawyer can only fight your case.
Right.
And be a sport. Get your problems done. If you fail, try again.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
If you're just going to say, no, the grass is greener on the other side, life doesn't work like this, folks.
Right.
So that's critically important.
Right.
Now, something very, very important about immigration. Sometimes what happens, an American citizen goes back home and gets married. And that particular spouse over there had tried to commit a visa fraud in the past,
Okay.
which means either she used someone else's passport or when she came over here to America, she was stopped at the border
Right.
and she was sent back. Does that mean that's the end of the case? The answer is no. You can still apply for a fraud waiver, and that's a difficult job.
Can you?
Yes.
Okay.
And we've done a lot of fraud waivers, and sometimes people do the paperwork on their own. But if you ever get a letter from the consulate from Guyana, from Trinidad, from India, from Pakistan, from the UK, if the officer says that you have to apply for a fraud waiver, immediately you can come in and see me or go to any qualified attorney because we've done very well with fraud waivers.
Right.
So if you're in that situation wherein you are subjected to a fraud waiver, that does not mean that you lost the case. You can still qualify and get your relatives over here. Can be your mom, can be your spouse. You need to make sure, or your children, so you can still qualify for a fraud waiver and get your spouse back.
Right. Right.
There's another situation which I see is that I know of a person here. This woman used to live over here, and what happened is that after 2 years, after being undocumented here, she lost her status here, and then she went back.
Oh,
Now
wow.
this man was in love. He went and he got married to her, and he came back.
Okay.
So because she was in unlawful status here, even if she was back, she's subjected to the 10-year bar, but still there's a waiver for that.
There it is.
Yes,
See,
and
this
if
is
you
knowledge
apply
that a
for
lot
a
of people
waiver,
don't know.
she can still come in. Don't think that that's the end of the case. Anytime if you have any kind of immigration case, you have to speak to a very good attorney that you like, who knows about immigration law. And the good news about immigration is that your lawyer can be in New York, you can be in Florida, you can be in Schenectady watching the show, you can be in New Jersey. That lawyer can represent you from New York itself. So we can represent clients from all over the United States and the world. We have actually some corporate inquiries. Companies from Guyana and Trinidad, they contact us because even if you are a big company in Guyana or Trinidad, do you know you can start a branch office in America? You can also apply for an investor's visa if you're from Trinidad. Now that's a good thing about Trinidad. If you are a Trinidadian national born in Trinidad and if you have around $200,000, and if you want to start a business here, buy a gas station. You can still settle here. You don't even have to get married to an American citizen.
Really? Did
Buy
not
a
know that.
business, and at least you can get your work permit through the e-visa program. It's not the green card, but you can live under the e-visa program and continue living here forever.
That's
So there are many ways, and the other thing which I tell people, if you're highly qualified, look for a company that can sponsor you, provided you're legal in America.
right. That is a wealth of information.
Now, another way before we go, another thing that has been really good these days, people come to me, they tell me, Mr. Gehi, there are a lot of problems going in Guyana and in Trinidad. If you are new to the country and if you are having serious political problems in Guyana, Trinidad, or in anywhere, consider political asylum. And through that, you can get a work permit in 7 or 8 months. Even through political asylum, you can get a work permit, a social security, and basically a driver's license in America if you fear persecution in your home country. So again, the good news is we'll be back again with Marissa with some more information for our viewers on the show, Jamuna Ki Shanti. And if you have any questions, we have 3 offices. You can come in and see us. And late evening and weekend appointments are available. That's why we have our office on Liberty Avenue. We have an office on Jamaica Avenue now,
Right.
and one in Forest Hills. And we handle immigration cases from all over the world and from the United States. 718-263-5999. Come in and meet us for a free initial personal consultation.
Right. So remember, 3 offices, free consultation, weekend
personal
hours,
consultation.
evening hours. So take advantage of the wealth of knowledge. And if you want to do the right thing, become a U.S. citizen, get all the benefits, then you come see Mr. Gehi.
That
Right.
I think we'll be doing our best to help the community. As much as we
Absolutely.
can.
They don't show our legs, right?
That's okay. Okay, sure.
They don't show our legs, right? Because
No.
she was on the floor.
That's okay.
Okay.
We did good.
I think so, and we did great timing too.
Yeah.
The time was great.